Hello everybody. Today is a very special episode. Today is something that I've been wanting to do ever since we started the YouTube. Honestly, ever since we kind of started doing all this has kind of been a dream of mine that I've been kind of working on and visualizing, and I've really been wanting to make this part of our YouTube channel, all because it's where I came from, it's my roots, it's how I started in the industry, and it's where I started my whole career and where I learned a lot of what I do and what I am today. And I'm very excited to be partnering up with Trask Performance, none other than the Performance Masters, with this build that we're doing right here, this 2024 Street Glide by Harley Davidson. We are going to, that's right, Trask Performance today. That is where I started. In 2009, I started working at Trask Performance when I was going to MMI. I was about 6 months into school when my girlfriend, now wife, told me that she was not going to date the local dealer, so I needed to get a real job. Hey man, you got to pay your way through school one way or another. So I knocked that shit off and I went and applied for some jobs, and I did not necessarily apply at Trask off the jump. I was in 7B, if you know anything about MMI, that is a computer class at school. And my instructor there was friends with the guys at Trask, and Trask had hit him up saying they were looking for someone that was a standout student, myself, that they could bring in, and they wanted to train in their ways, and they were just starting to develop their turbo kits and really go hard with selling turbo kits at that time. And I had come from the import car world where I had built a bunch of turbo cars and everything else. And they knew that. My instructor, Frank Quiz was my instructor. My boy, what's up, Frank, if you're watching? He talked to Mike Porum, which was the head mechanic. He is now CMP Performance, but he was the head mechanic at Trask at the time, and they were buddies. And he was talking to him about, you know, students and things like that, and they had two criteria. The student had to be top-notch, like I had to have my shit together, I had to be smart. They were looking for somebody that was a high level. And then I had to have cool hair. They wanted somebody with cool hair. And I had like Dragon Ball Z dyed black Super Saiyan hair, like, you know, real rock and roll punk rock, you know, shit back then. And Frank's like, I got just the guy, because I had been hit on a motorcycle. I got T-boned. I was on a Rigid that I had at the time, and I went through this intersection, and this truck T-boned me. It hit me so hard it cut the neck off my bike, and I did like the splits and spun around down the side of this truck, and it beat me up pretty bad. I split my nuts in half and peeled some of my tools and broke both my hips and my collarbone into my sternum and my scapula, and I was banged up pretty bad. But I went to school the next day in a wheelchair. I never missed a day of school, and Frank was like, I got the dude, man. This guy blew his nuts up and then didn't miss a day of school. So, and I had cool hair. So I met the criteria. So I went in for an interview. I had an interview with Nick Trask, and you know, his interview was, did that and the other thing, and then they said, we'll get a hold of you. And then for like 2 or 3 weeks, I was blowing these dudes up, and I was like, dude, I want a job, what's up? Like, they were trying to hire somebody, but I don't know if they were that serious about it. And then I was at an event at the Hideaway up in Cave Creek. I think it was like Biketoberfest or something like that, and Nick walked up on a sick one, you know, he was partying pretty good, and he's like, yeah, fuck, Kruesi, what are you doing, man? He's like, hey, man, why don't you come by the shop on Monday? And I was like, all right, shit, I guess another interview. He's like, yeah, Monday, come by 8 o'clock. I was like, all right. So I showed up at Monday in like a button-up shirt, you know, ready for a job interview. And Nick walks up to me and hands me a piece of paper and says, I want you to start with the rubbish and then work your way down from there. And it was like a list of all this shit that he wanted cleaned in the shop. And I was like, well, am I starting work? He's like, yeah, right now. I was like, fuck, all right. So I worked mornings. I was going to school in the afternoon from like noon to 6. And I would work at the shop from 7 to noon, and I did that for maybe a week. And Nick was like, I need you to work more. So I went to school at night from 6 o'clock till midnight, and I worked at the shop from 7 till 5:30 every single day, Monday through Saturday, 7 to 5, 5:30, and then I went to school 25 hours a week, and it was probably the gnarliest year of my entire life. And if you know anything about Nick or have ever worked with Nick whatsoever, I would say that 90% of my business ethic and work ethic and how I run things comes from Nick's style. Nick is an animal. He is a workaholic. He is very hardcore, and he pushes his guys hard. So I was putting in some work. I was a zombie, but it was probably, I couldn't have been blessed with a better experience or a place to start out with. They put me through welding school. They brought an instructor in and taught me how to weld there on the job. Taught me how to TIG weld, taught me how to do all the machining. So I was doing all the machining for the turbo parts and welding exhaust and doing a bunch of rad stuff like that. And building bikes, we assembled one of the first 26-inch baggers way back in the day. And did a lot of really, really cool stuff. And I worked with a lot of elite mechanics. Ron Piner, one of the greatest dyno tuners there ever was and still is. Still works at Trask when he feels like it. He's mostly retired now. He is unreal. I learned a lot from Ron. When I was going through dyno school at MMI, they had a record board where whoever could get the most numbers, and it was the same bikes, but if you could get a higher number, you could get on the record board. And I held that record board for like 5 years. Nobody could touch me because I had Ron Piner in my back pocket. So I'd go to work all day long. I'd get on Ron's ass, you know, and get all the tips and tricks, and then I'd go to school and tune the shit out of these bikes and kick everybody's ass, and it was pretty awesome. And Mike Porum was the head mechanic. I apprenticed under him. He's CMP Performance, I think is what it's called now. Sorry if I'm butchering that, Mike, but Mike was a really good mechanic. I was blessed to learn from him and a lot of rad shit, and met Mike Bailey there. Mike Bailey was probably one of the best fabricators that's ever been on the planet, and I learned a lot of my fab skills from him. And then me and Mike actually worked at a few shops together throughout the years. He'd go somewhere and then I'd go follow him and vice versa. But Trask was my first opportunity, and it's where it started everything for me. And I worked there for about 3 years, and it was unreal. Nick's a really, really good dude. He taught me a lot of stuff, and he helped me out a lot. And I've always wanted to go back with the YouTube channel, and I've really, really wanted to go back and do a series with them and bring Nick in and get him involved and kind of go back to my roots and really bring some appreciation, I guess I would say, or show some love to the guys that brought me into this world and how much of this and this lifestyle that I get to live now. Because if it wasn't for Nick Trask and it wasn't for all those guys over there, who knows, I could be at AutoZone. I could be working at AutoZone like the rest of the MMI grads. But it was just a good blessing. It was a blessing, and I also, you know, I beat on their door until they were forced to hire me, but it was a good thing. So today, we're going back to Trask. We're gonna go meet up with Moots. He's kind of the service manager over there. He runs the shop side of things. We're gonna take this 2024 Street Glide right here. She is bone stock. We're gonna go throw it on the dyno. We're gonna spin this thing up and see what kind of numbers a stock 117 water cooled Harley Davidson makes these days, because this thing feels strong. I'm gonna guess low 90s, 110s foot-pounds. Horsepower, maybe 110-ish foot-pounds, the way she feels from my calibrated butt dyno, I would say. Then we're gonna put the very first 2024 Thundermax they sent to Trask Performance for them to do development on it and R&D. It's gonna go into this bike. Then we're gonna turn the thing up. We're gonna do some tuning with the Thundermax with their guy there. Throw it on the dyno again and see what kind of power we can make with just tuning stock exhaust, stock catalytic converter, stock intake, stock everything, just a Thundermax and a tune. See what kind of power we can make with a 2024 bagger. It's going to be pretty rad, and they're going to be along through this whole series. We're going to be going very, very hard with this bike. Very hard. We're going to be camming it. We're going to be putting exhaust and intake. We're going to tune it again. We're going to see what kind of power we can make that way. Then we're going to start throwing some boost at it, and we're going to see what kind of power we can make that way. We are going to go stupid with this bike. The plan originally was to build sort of a Star Wars themed, because it kind of looks like a stormtrooper. I kind of wanted to build a speeder bike out of it, but I did a little bit of drifting on it, just a little bit. You know, you can shut the traction control off, and this bike slides so good. I think with like 160 plus horsepower, doing like 30-foot walls of smoke down the road would be super sick. So I kind of want to build a drift car out of it. I mean, I've been building these drift cars and I've been really into it, and I really want to build something sort of FD inspired. It's going to be maybe a bit of a drift livery. We've got wheels being cut right now, something special. It's going to be sick, something a little different than what I normally do for a bagger, a little different setup than what I would normally go, but I think it's going to fit the bike a little bit better. We've got a bunch of suspension on the way. We've got a whole bunch of goodies in the works. It is going to be something like we haven't really done before, but I'm going to revolutionize the stunt riding world in a little bit. We're going to go very, 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 very high-powered stunt machine. Which, is that the best way to go for stunt riding? No, it's not. Not at all. But I think it's going to be a great novelty. And we will be at the Thunderdome in Sturgis this year, and I'm going to try and have this thing at least boosted and gnarly by then, so I can throw it down at the stunt shows when we're riding out there at the Thunderdome. So here we go. We're gonna go to Trask Performance. I'm gonna show you where I started. I'm gonna show you around there a little bit, and we're gonna be filming lots of series with them, and you're gonna get to see a whole lot of Trask and how they do stuff, because they are the godfathers of Harley Davidson performance. Go check them out. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the ride. KruesiOriginals.com. Don't forget to watch Blockhead Moto, because they are our competition. Are they? Of course they are. We love those guys. Thank you, guys. Harley Davidson really doesn't get any better. And here we are, guys. We're at Trask Performance. That was actually my spot over there in that corner over there for a long, long time. Back when there was only Ron, Jeremy, Mike Porum, and myself, and then Nick was working in his office up there, and you guys got 40 employees now or something like that?
Close to it, yeah.
40. It's come a long ways. That was 15 years ago. I worked here 15 years ago, and that is a long time ago. It doesn't seem like a long time ago. It seems like yesterday, and I seem like I am a lot older than I was then. It goes by so fast. It is so wild, but I learned a lot here. That's why I worked here. I wrote down everything, and I worked everybody for every bit of information I could, and I've been very, very blessed to work under some really rad people in my career starting out. And I wanted to come back here full circle, kind of come back to my roots. I've known Moots forever.
Came out here to Phoenix in '98. I worked for Roger Bourget for 17 years. They were a victim of the economic downfall. So I came over here, talked to Nick, brought me on, and been here about 11 years. Again, I'm blessed to have worked with some very talented people. I've been in the industry since 1976, which is kind of crazy.
That's longer than I've been alive.
Sophomore in high school.
Really?
But yeah, I was on a work.
Where'd you start? In a
It was
dealership or what?
Mather High School in Chicago.
Yeah.
And I went on a work program because you got credits for working while you were at school.
Really?
So you leave school at noon, go to work, and you got credits. So it was
man.
it was more my cup of tea than
If they
than
still
studying.
did that, think of how much better workers we would have than what we have now.
Absolutely. I can't agree more. It's been an interesting ride. I'm still in it. I'm not done. Be 63 in a couple months, but I feel like a spring chicken.
You don't look a day over 62.
Perfect.
Hell yes. Yeah, back to Bourget. Bourget was huge. If you guys don't know Bourget, he was on one of the original biker build-offs back in the day. He was the first guy to build a fat tire bike. He started out with a car tire, right?
Yep.
Were you with him the whole time?
Yeah.
Man, he had a compound at the end of this street, actually. One of the most impressive motorcycle shops I've ever seen. They grow weed there now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let Moots take over, kind of run through what's going on. This is the build-off bike, and we are here for something special. Step one of everything.
What we did here is we just took a bone stock 24 Harley bagger. All I did was pull the shields off, drilled the pipes, and put some receivers in for to accept the O2 sensors. The stock ECM is in the bike. We are going to put the O2 sensors in there, put on the dyno, do a pass, and basically get a base of where the AFRs, the air-fuel ratios, are at with the stock ECM, stock pipe, catalytic converter, all that. After that, we are going to install a different ECM. It's a Thundermax. It is a closed-loop system, so it continuously reads exhaust gases and makes adjustments as it's reading those gases. So it's constantly making minimal adjustments and keeping the AFRs where you want them or where the targets are set to. So with that, we're going to put the bike in a dyno. Landon is going to be the dyno operator, and we'll go through our testing.
Take a look at this. This is a pretty rad setup. So
I can explain this if you want to get in here.
Do you guys make these right here? This is
Available on the market. Techno Research.
Really?
This is a vacuum port here. You drill and put a riv nut into the pipe. So the vacuum port is going to pull exhaust gases into this chamber while the bike is running, and then the O2s are going to read it real time while the bike is running. So we have the ability to tune it front and rear, so we can separate the amount of fuel that we want to deliver to front and rear cylinder independently. And that's all preset from Harley in their ECM. That's not something that you have access to change in the stock ECM. Let's just say it's regulated. We're in the performance business. We live, breathe, eat, drink, sleep, shit performance. That's what I'm all about. It's what I've been about for years, and it's probably one of the reasons I'm here at Trask.
This is the performance spot.
Right.
Amen. This is the Hot Rod Shop. I would say you guys build the highest horsepower Harley Davidsons in the world.
That's a pretty broad statement, but we're up there.
As far as just general putting them out on a regular basis, nobody's putting out stuff like you guys are in the power range.
I'll go with that.
There is some guys putting out some onesies and twosies and some high horsepower ones, but there's not a regular 150 to 200 plus horsepower bikes being put out like you guys are doing.
Thank you.
And I'm also excited because we're probably going to be making a lot of power with this and doing something pretty wild. That's to come, so you got to like and subscribe and tell all your friends and your mom about it. I forgot to have catalytic converters because I have not dealt with a stock exhaust in a long, long time. So we're going to spool this thing up and see what it makes bone stock to see what kind of power they make on the dyno with this stock 117. You got any guesses?
Probably 100 to 103 horse, maybe 124 foot-pounds of torque.
No tune. Bone stock. You think it's going to make 120 foot-pounds?
Yeah, it's a big motor. These 4-valve heads work really well.
It feels strong.
Yeah,
it definitely feels powerful.
It's definitely more torque than horsepower, but let's see if we can possibly even that up a little bit.
120 foot-pounds on a stock Harley Davidson 5 years ago was absolutely unheard of.
Unheard of.
Unheard of. That was 10 grand. You know, if you want to build a motor like that, you're pumping a whole lot of money into it. And now for what you would pay for a new twin cam in 2018, you're now getting maybe a little more, I would say, because of inflation and things, but it's still, you're getting a whole lot of motor and a whole lot of bike for right out of the box, really. Really, if you just pipe and tune, we're also going to tune this today.
Yeah.
And see what it makes.
Well, here's I won't say it's a stipulation, but we're going to tune it with the stock head pipe and mufflers and cat.
Yes.
We're going to be manipulating the fuel ratios, but we still have to stay within a parameter to where the catalytic converter is going to fire off it and do its job. So we're going to see if we can make some improvements while retaining the stock head pipe and the cat.
If I had to guess, I would say that the timing and everything stock, just to keep up with the EPA and everything, is probably on the lame side of things.
Probably conservative, yeah. Yeah, we have access with the ECM we're using. If I can mention it, it's a Thundermax.
Yep.
This is a prototype ECM that we just got for testing. It's not even in production yet. But yeah, we have access to manipulate all that stuff.
I did forget to mention that this is the very first 2024 touring Thundermax going down right here, now. You guys work with Thundermax very closely, correct?
Yep, there's 5 of us in the nation that were given one of these to test, and we're one of them. We do a lot with Thundermax with the background we have with our turbos, the amount of business we do at rallies, Sturgis, Daytona, the turbo sales we do out of here. We move a lot of their product and they respect us.
So with that being said, I say we get to it, huh?
Absolutely.
You ready? Here we go. Oh, you just walked into this, you didn't even know what was happening. So I started here in 2009, long time ago, when most of you were in grade school. And Robbie was my tool guy then, and has been my tool guy ever since. Was with Matco back in the day. And when I moved into the new shop, they sent another Matco guy over, and I said, get the off my property. I'm staying with Robbie. And Robbie's been there ever since. And then he went to Gear Wrench, and they sent a new Matco guy around, and I said, get the off my property. I'm sticking with Robbie. He's been my tool guy ever since. I got a lot of money invested in Robbie over here.
It's funny, Moot says he doesn't like being on the camera.
Oh yeah, he does.
He's so full of shit.
Yeah, oh yeah.
All right, I'll get it hooked up here and make a couple base runs, see where the FRs are, how much power it's making, and then
oh yeah,
we'll slap Thundermax in it.
I'm excited. What do you think it's going to make? What's your?
I'm going to guess
120 sounds pretty strong.
I think 120 is a little strong. I would guess 100 horsepower, I'd say, is probably pretty good. 110, 115 torque, probably about right.
My guess is 87 horsepower. It seems like torque-wise, it seems pretty strong, but horsepower-wise, it seems like she falls on. It
falls out,
a little bit. Yeah. It definitely drops out after like 4,500, I would say.
Yeah.
But the bottom end is very aggressive. Mm-hmm. But I'm gonna go low hundreds foot-pounds and 90s horsepower. Let's go. You guys comment down below and let's get your guesses. Do it right now, real quick, before we run this thing.
My name is Landon. I'm the tuner here at Trask. We like making horsepower.
And he has a majestic mullet.
Just wait till the dyno gets going and start blowing in the breeze.
Yes, it's gonna look awesome. Let's rock and roll.
Sweet.
Come on in, June.
And you just hit that freaking button and you're done.
Just like my hand, not holding on, just relaxing. It was beautiful.
Yeah, for sure.
The only thing that sucks is you have to keep the ABS to keep the cruise control, and I usually throw the ABS straight in the trash. But I also did find out ABS is really nice for doing rollers because you can just grab that front brake as hard as you want to and the front wheel won't lock up and tuck on you. So when I was in Florida, I would just on it down the road on Blockhead's bike. Do you know if we can get rid of the traction control of the Thundermax?
I cannot. They can.
Thundermax can?
Yeah. It's a 24, so it's hard to say. I might be able to disable traction control through Centurion.
Yeah?
And kill it in the BCM.
That's what we need to do.
And then plug an ECM. Your light will probably be stuck on. It's a 24, I don't know. We haven't touched one yet, so.
Well, let's give that a try today too.
Yeah.
I can't have traction control.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not riding a bike I can't do a burnout on. So. This thing hooks up like a son of a bitch, dude. You can shut it off, but it comes back on as soon as you give her help. Here we go. I'm so excited. Back in the day, it was just Ron's old 1985 laptop sitting up here on the table. So you guys have really come a long ways with the fancy shit in here. But I see you're sitting in the 15, 16 range at idle right now. That's
and it's warming up.
Yeah, it's definitely a whole new motorcycle.
It doesn't warm up very quickly.
Water cooled. It never gets hot either.
Yeah, even in the dyno with the water cooled bikes, they get to like 230, 240, and they just sit there.
Yeah.
That's
nice.
pretty badass.
We were riding, it was like 90 degrees out. We were riding for like 3 hours and my leg never even got warm. Yeah, 116 foot-pounds is pretty damn good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. That's pretty damn good. So, I won the horsepower guess. Landon won the torque guess. That is pretty damn impressive. 116 foot-pounds. 116 foot-pounds out of a stock motor in a Harley Davidson. Just from my generation, that is unheard of. That's big money. Like, if you're gonna come in with a twin cam to make 116 foot-pounds, you better come in with your wallet, homeboy, because that's gonna be expensive. That's impressive. 92 horsepower, pretty damn good too. I felt like, and it does drop off about 4,000. You can feel it when you're riding it. That's just
you can see it. It shuts something down right about there. I don't know if it started closing the throttle or what, but you can see that drop, that aggressive drop.
Right about right in there.
Yeah.
It's probably got a real lame cam in it, I would imagine.
I know the stock M8 cams are only like 350 lift or something like that. They're real baby cams.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that is bad.
That's why the cams wake them up so badly.
Yeah.
Because they
get
some air in it.
Probably make 120, 130 horsepower with a cam in this thing, which is unbelievable. Unbelievable. You can make 120 horsepower with a twin cam, you better put a turbo or something on it. It better be a big ass twin cam, but that's impressive. What do we do now?
I would say we can throw the Thundermax on it and start tuning on her, see what we can get out of it.
What do you think you can get out of it? What's your guess?
I would guess we get in the 120 torque range for sure. The horse, I'd guess 105-ish.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's damn near 10 horsepower plus.
That's at least what I've seen with the little bit older 117s.
Really? With stock exhaust and everything?
The cap might be a little bit limiting,
yeah.
But if we can get 100 horse, I think we'd be pretty...
I think it's pretty
we'd be good, yeah. But
120 foot-pounds, that's impressive. I'm impressed. Okay, Harley Davidson, eat my words. I'm impressed. This is it. We're at 110, 112 foot-pounds at 2,000 RPMs. Look at that. That's ridiculous. I built a 13-to-1 compression 103 back in the day in one of my old bikes that made 118 foot-pounds at 2,000 RPMs. And I thought that was the nastiest thing I'd ever rode in my life. And that was a crazy huge build. This is stock.
bone stock.
Bone stock. He's got a lot higher compression than the twin cams out of the box.
Yeah.
I think this one's like 10-to-1 or something like that.
Like 10 or 10 and a half, yeah.
Pretty gnarly. I usually ride them around 35 and 6 myself.
Yeah, I
but
know. I know that.
I keep them. I keep them up in the beans, you know. Give her the juice.
So, the O2 sensors for the Thundermax. You normally have 18 millimeter O2 bungs on your head pipe. Being that we're using a stock head pipe, we're going to use our tapped in O2 sensor blocks just for the meantime while we're doing some testing with this stock pipe. So this here is your Thundermax module. It's a complete ECU replacement, plugs into your factory ECM connector, and works exactly as a factory ECM, except it has a whole bunch of added features. It has an auto-tune system built into it that works really well. So as you're riding down the road, it's always trying to find that perfect air-fuel ratio. So that way you're getting the best performance and the best fuel mileage at the same time. Very simple install. It's as simple as plugging it in and hooking up the O2s, and you're done. We're gonna do that now. We're removing the ECM right now. Bam. Try not to burn these wires up. If you squint, it's mint.
So that's pretty much how we're gonna leave it. We like a nice clean wire install and everything that we do, so this is how we'll be running her down the street from here on out. This helps keep your leg away from the pipe so you don't burn yourself when you're really getting down to business. It's time, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. We'll roll her back in there and start playing with it and see what we can get out of it.
That's exciting. Are you guys excited? Pretty damn excited.
I'm gonna put a couple of zips on it.
On these 24s, you can just pop this plastic piece off right here.
Underneath?
Yeah, and it's painted, and then you've just got a clean side cover. And I like the way the side covers look too.
Yeah, I like how they kind of come up and meet the
Yeah.
tank a little bit.
I personally like that little black plastic piece on there too. It kind of looks nice. Slims down everything. Like, this bike feels a lot smaller to ride.
It's weird because we had that Road Glide, same bike, and this bike, the feel is completely different on each one of these bikes.
Yeah.
Like the Road Glide feels so much different.
The Road Glide feels bigger.
For sure. I like the way this bike feels way more than
Yeah.
the Road Glides.
Same. That's why I wanted a street glide. I know everybody dick rides the Road Glides. They look good, all that, but it feels like a monster.
Yeah.
My 21, I just didn't feel that confident riding it, like ripping through traffic at 100 and things like that. I felt like I was on a gigantic motorcycle. This feels like a Dyna with a big fairing on it. It feels good. It feels very, very nimble. It feels lighter, even though it may not be, but it feels lighter to me. It does get about 85, 90. That thing starts to buffer a little bit in the handlebars.
That's the only thing that people ever really complain about street glides is that they
Yeah.
don't like going fast.
Which I think they just need to set the neck bearings up just a little tighter. And you can probably remedy that with a little bit of a crank on the neck bearings and snug them up a bit. Because it just feels a little loose at like 85, 90. But we just give her a little...
It's a Harley. You're not supposed to go over 55.
Yeah.
Everyone knows this.
Yeah, true. I mean, I don't very often anymore. I'm mostly in a parking lot just for doing burnouts and things. But
Yeah.
this one I want to ride all over the place at a high rate of speed. I'm not into speedos or any of that shit on motorcycles. I just go as fast as the bike will go, and that's how fast you go. It's that easy. Quit crying to me about me not putting speedos on motorcycles. You believe how many people talk shit? Well, it would have been nice you would have left a speedo on it. For what, asshole? Don't need a speedo.
If you know how to ride, you don't need a speedo.
No, listen to the thing. If you're going faster than the traffic, you're doing it right.
They told us not to load a different map into this bike because it's specific for this model of bike.
Really?
So I'm working with what I got.
The map on the Thundermax?
Yeah, they send it with a map on it, and they said do not change it.
Really?
They said you can edit it and whatever,
Yeah.
but you can't put a different map in it.
No matter what you do to the bike, you just have to build off that map no matter what?
Or when they start bringing out the maps for these bikes, then you'll have other maps. But
Gotcha.
they have cam sensors now,
Yep.
and they have whatever the hell's going on in the transmission over here now. There's a bunch of different stuff they added.
I'm not a fan of the cam sensor, but I don't know
I
why-
think it's
why
a
they
good
did
thing.
that. Yeah?
You're not relying on your map sensor then to find its home for when the fire.
Yeah.
You have a more accurate way of telling where the engine's at outside of a crank sensor.
It still has a crank sensor and everything, right?
Yeah.
I'm just the old twin cam sensors that failed all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Those were a nightmare.
Okay, so this map that's in this bike is straight from Thundermax. I haven't touched any of the fuel maps. I changed a couple of things to be to my preferences, but this is the map straight from Thundermax.
We're going to see what just the Thundermax map can do with a catalytic converter and a stock intake and all the shitty stuff that the EPA makes you have on a bike to sell it. See how much more power we can make. Remember what we just made. Keep that in your head. Comment down below and put your guesses in there real fast because it's going to happen right now. Sounds a little different at idle already.
It doesn't surge like it does from a stock.
So it's sitting at like 12.3 right now on the air fuel at idle, which it was at like 15, 16 before. It was super, super lean, but that's pretty fat for idle. Idle normally should be in the 14s, high 14s, a little leaner. First initial pull, we did like 3 more horsepower and about half a foot-pound or more. It sounds different. It sounds a little crisper.
Yeah, for sure.
But she did not make a whole lot more power.
We're gonna let it do its auto learn here.
It's literally hitting at the exact same point too. She climbed a lot harder down here though.
It probably has better throttle opening. It's not delaying the throttle at all.
.96 horsepower and 118 foot-pounds. So over stock, it's about 2 foot-pounds and almost a strong 5.25 horsepower. That's with just their base map that they just developed on the very first Thundermax. So this is definitely going to grow as time goes on. These aren't even available for sale right yet. You don't have this, you can't get this yet, but you will be able to get it on KruesiOriginals.com as soon as it is ready. And now you're gonna start making some changes?
Yeah, make some more fuel changes and throw a little timing at it.
Gonna see what it can really do now.
Where the timing is sitting is it's happy where it's at.
Okay.
I think
that 120, you didn't change anything. That was just another pull.
Yeah. Outside of just pulling a little bit of fuel out of it,
yeah,
it's just getting that air fuel right. Once your air fuel's right, it'll make power on its own.
I mean, that's 98.5 horsepower and 120 foot-pounds. That's pretty damn good.
I mean, shoot, yeah, we're 7 horsepower up and 4 or 5 foot-pounds.
What are you gonna do to pull 100? Lean it out?
I'll probably do one more learn on it here. I'll throw it in a higher gear.
I'm with that. Put 60 PSI in the back tire.
5th gear, it'll jump 2 horsepower, I would think. Probably a few more foot-pounds too.
Yeah.
It's closer to 1-to-1. I was afraid it was going to hit a speed limiter.
It didn't.
The Thundermax must shut it off.
Yeah, because the speed limiter on these is 120.
Yeah.
I've hit it. So it did 123 foot-pounds and 100.37, so 100 horsepower. That is pretty goddamn awesome out of a stock motor. And stock exhaust. Like that exhaust is killing this thing right now.
It's restricting
it
so much.
A pipe alone would probably pull quite a bit more out of it, I would think.
Yeah, I would expect to gain at least another 5 horsepower with the pipe.
Probably get there a lot faster too. 2024, this is the motor you're gonna get. This is the base model bagger right here. This is the bottom of the barrel bagger besides all the black stuff, but this is your base model, base as she gets, and you can make 123 foot-pounds of torque with it bone stock and a Thundermax. So, you know, KruesiOriginals.com, buy a Thundermax. For every $5 you spend, that'll enter you in a chance to win a motorcycle. You could buy a Thundermax and end up with a new Dyna, or an old Dyna. So we dialed?
I'd say so.
That's pretty damn impressive. All right, here we are. You want to give us a little recap on what you did?
Yeah,
where we went?
So we put the Thundermax in the bike. We gained, 8 horsepower and 6 or 7 foot-pounds. The map Thundermax sent us was awesome. It was pretty much spot on from the get-go. like we had said, this is all in development prototype stuff. This ECM currently is not even out in the market. We're just fortunate enough to be able to help them out and help develop this product with them. That's some pretty considerable gains though from a stock bike.
Yeah.
With bone stock, pipe, cat, everything's in it still.
The cat alone to get any kind of power breathing through that thing is impressive. It's pretty damn good. And 123 foot-pounds out of a stock bike to me is mind-blowing. Out of coming, Evos to twin cams. And this is a jump from twin cam to M8 power-wise. Like the twin cam over the Evo made a lot more power, but it wasn't that crazy like this. You go to the twin cam, to make 123 stock is insane. And I think
spend a lot of money.
Yeah, a lot of money. A lot of money. And I think that if we just put a pipe on that and an intake and got it breathing and retuned it, it would make a considerable amount more power. You could make some juice with that, yeah.
Sure.
Definitely. I would say a pipe and head pipe and a decent muffler on there, we'd be up in the mid-20s, mid-upper 20s on the horsepower.
It could climb. And a cam, then you get stupid. Or we could turbo it, go real stupid. You guys can comment down below. What should we do next? Should we cam it? Should we boost it? Should we just go big? I think we just go big. I think we just go
big and boost. What the hell?
Big and boost, yeah. Big and boost.
Go big or go home.
That's why my wife married me.
Fortunate enough to have our hands on a brand new bike. Thank you, Ryan. There's nothing greater in this field than R&D. So,
amen. That is the entertaining part of it.
yeah.
Oh yeah, it really is. Like the developing new stuff and kind of opening new doors. That's the stuff I enjoy the most. When the bike is done, I'm kind of over it. You know, like,
totally.
oh well, the build's done. It's time to build something else. So that's what keeps it alive, keeps it going. This is Trask Performance. If you don't know who they are, you've been asleep somewhere for far too long. Go check them out. TraskPerformance.com.
Yes, sir.
Trask Performance on Instagram. Trask Performance on YouTube. Doing a little bit of everything. If you want to build some horsepower, these are the dudes that do it. If you're going to get dyno work done, for the last 10 years I've been in business, no one else has tuned for us. It's been Trask this whole time. They are the masters. As you can tell, Thundermax sends stuff to them to help with development. They must know what they're doing. It is the place to go. Like, subscribe, go watch Blockhead, because he is also building the competition. Is it really competition? I'm just kidding. Love you, dude. Go watch Blockhead Moto for the rest of this series that's going on right now. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, KruesiOriginals.com. Peace.
See ya.